Hey everybody, I am C.O. Cannon from Fiction Atlas Press, and I'm filling in for the awesome Joe Compton today. You're watching This Week in Indies, and we have an amazing show for you. All these guys on this panel are going to be talking to you about social media and as authors, how we can get burnt out by social media, which is kind of easy with all the new social media sites that are popping up. So let's let everybody introduce themselves. Yeah, you want to start, David?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me on. My first time on the show. I am David Green. I'm an author based in Ireland. I write two different series. I have a character-driven dark fantasy epic series called Empire of Ruin, and I have a urban fantasy paranormal detective thing called Hell in Haven as well, which is very kind of pulpy and actually, I really enjoy. I enjoy writing both of them, but I really enjoy writing that one because it's just I just kind of just do anything that feels good. And like it's fine, it'll work. So that's me.
Awesome, Ron.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm Ron LAHR. I write fantasy, humor, science fiction, all sorts of stuff. There you go. That's it.
Awesome. Karina?
Hi everyone, Karina Kantas here. I am hi everyone, Karina Kantas here. I'm an author of 14 books. I'm also an award-winning filmmaker and podcaster, booktuber, YouTuber, and I run Author Assist, which helps authors with their marketing, promotion, everything from brainstorming an idea right through to holding the final product in their hand and getting it out to the masses. Thank you for having me.
All right, thanks. Jim?
And I'm Jim Nettles. I write science fiction, urban fantasy, a bit of horror, a bit of contemporary. I also write nonfiction, everything from entrepreneurship, business articles. I write a lot of stuff around business for creatives. I also founder of Author Essentials, which is an author services company, and Author Essentials Workshops, which is a workshops company for writers and creatives in terms of business, marketing, all that kind of good stuff. And as Joe helped announce a couple of weeks ago, I'm also the business track director for the Speculative Fiction Writers Academy, or Speculative Fiction Academy, and I'm currently sitting and hanging out at Heroes Con in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Awesome.
So it might be a little noisy.
It'll be fine. Okay. Chaos is fun. That's what this show is about. We go and deal with a lot of that stuff. There's always something fun that happens. So I sent you guys an article, and it was on BookBub about social media platforms and how sometimes as authors we can kind of be overwhelmed or burn out. And so the first question I have for you guys is, have any of you ever felt burnout from using or trying to learn too many social media platforms? And
yes,
anybody can jump in.
Sure. Well, okay, I'll dive in and go first because I can run my mouth anyway. So kind of the challenge with social media platforms, and I kind of run between both gamuts, is teaching people how to use social media for advertising, marketing, promotion, all the rest of that good stuff. Then I spend the other part of my time talking about privacy, the great evil that is social media, how to protect yourself from it, all that kind of good stuff. But it's like anything else. If you want to avoid the burnout factor to it, it's being intentional when you're using it and being aware of what you're doing when you're using it. And I'll probably reiterate that a couple more times today. But burnout happens when you really get tired of doing something. You're not doing something that you want to do and enjoy. And the challenge with social media platforms, and I think where a lot of the burnouts come from, is how toxic a lot of them can be. And when you get tired of looking at the noise and the garbage that flies by instead of things that are either good for you, good for your brand, good for your community, and the things that you reinforce. And I think that's where a lot of the burnout comes from. Plus the fact of trying to think, because you don't have to, but that thought that you have to do all the things when really it's about finding the things that work for you.
Exactly. I think that's a good point. Anybody else got anything to say?
I wouldn't say I've ever been kind of burnt out by it, but you kind of sometimes feel like sometimes you can feel like you hit a wall when a lot of social media seems to be kind of like an echo chamber a lot of the time, and that's not just with like, you know, book promotion or self promotion. It can be with anything that you're interested in. You kind of end up gravitating towards people that, you know, enjoy the same things that you do or want to do the same things that you do, because that's what a lot of these social media things are designed to do. They're designed to put people into these kind of pockets where they can all just talk to each other and do things. Like TikTok, for example, will see what you interact with and see what you post about, and it will directly funnel you into that area. So TikTok is fun. You can get some kind of book sales about it with it, but what normally happens is that you end up just being in this little bubble of people trying to sell books to each other, and it's all writers are all saying, "Hey, why don't you buy my book?" And it's like, well, you know, I'm trying to sell my book, but maybe I will. Is it on Kindle Unlimited? Yes. You know, you might get a few reads there. So that can sometimes, you can feel like you're kind of hitting a wall there, and it's the what you need to do is try and think outside of the box, and that's the tricky part, is trying to find, I mean, obviously writers are readers as well, but a lot of the time is that you want to find people that are readers instead of other people that are trying to do the same thing that you're trying to do, which can be the tricky bit. And I've seen people kind of give up on social media a lot of the time because of that, because it's like, well, you know what, I've done this video that's got, or this YouTube video that's got X amount of views, and I got 2 book sales from it, and, you know, what's the point, basically? And it's like, well, you need to kind of look at who it's going towards, which is the trick.
Right. Okay.
Ron, do you want to go?
Sure. I mean, I totally get burned out. I mean, like everybody, there's real life, you know, besides writing. My mom has Alzheimer's, so that involves a lot of time, and we grow a lot of food, and we make a lot of food from scratch, and then there's trying to get books out. I'm trying to get my 3rd book edited for release this year, and then the marketing and social media aspect is extra, and putting in a bunch of time and effort, which I understand. You need to be consistent, you need to be directed and targeted, and to do that all day, multiple times a day, to consistently try and build something is normally beyond me. And then as a result, I'm like, you know, this isn't affecting my sales at all anyway. So it's easy to get burned out and turned off, let alone all the new social media I haven't delved into. But once I don't ever have to sleep, I look forward to being able to do that.
Okay.
So I'm everywhere. I'm on every social media platform I can find, because I work for myself with my 14 books and also for my clients. So if I can get my clients' books out there to different platforms, whether they get sales or not, the book is being seen and people are learning about who that author is. I haven't been burnt out. I know which ones I try and avoid and don't go on too much, and I know which are dump and run places. So I know how to use those ones. TikTok, I have so much fun on TikTok. Cosplay and reading from my own books. And I mix it actually with nail designs. So when I come back from the salon, I'm straight on TikTok and I do a video on my beautiful nails, like today. They're very pretty today. See?
Oh, I like those.
And so it mixes. So the people that, if you use the right hashtags, the people that are into nail designs will come on and have a look at it, and hopefully have a look at my other stuff. And then with the books, the stuff. So I'm on TikTok. So yeah, I enjoy TikTok, but I'm on nearly every other platform. I can list them all. I can tell you what I do on them, but I'll leave that for a bit later.
All right. I guess I will answer this one also. I've definitely probably at one point or another felt burnout, but I've tried to prioritize the ones that I actually enjoy doing and the ones that my fans are on, the ones that they respond the most to, because you can, like they've said, some of you said, you have your real life, you have your real things you have to take care of, you have your writing. I do all my stuff with Fiction Atlas. I'm doing stuff for clients. I'm doing the Indie Connection every week and the marketing tip, and then I'm doing homeschool for my kids, and it's a bunch of stuff at one time, and it's hard to get on every single platform all the time. And I think a lot of people do burn out because they feel like there's that FOMO, like everybody else is doing this, and it might not be right for you, but you're going to try it at least because you feel like you're missing out and that you might be getting more sales there. So I think it can be like a slippery slope, but eventually you just have to do what's best for you. But I do have another question. I had to write them down because I'm terrible. You can tell I'm terrible at just talking in person. I have to prepare myself. So, does your target audience determine what social media you use the most, or is it more about your level of comfort on a certain platform?
Neither.
Okay.
Yeah, I just, like I say, if it's my books, I post on my website and then share from that. So then the traffic will then come to my website. If I can't share like TikTok or Skyrock or what are the ones, LinkedIn or something from my website, then I'll go directly to the platform and post on there. I don't do buy my book posts, but what I do is excerpts and review quotes and narrations and book trailers. And so it gives the reader the opportunity to get to know the book better than just look at a cover and see a link.
Awesome.
Yeah, I find them really annoying. And there's some places like Facebook, you can only share one post 3 times a day now. They've really cut down on that. And so that's making it hard to promote for my books and my clients. So I work 10 hours a day, 5 days a week online because of where I live. I can't do cons and I can't do any outside promotion. So all my promotion for my clients and for me is online. So I rely on every single one of these platforms to promote on. And do I don't know. I enjoy TikTok because it's fun, especially with the cosplay. When it comes to Twitter, that's one of my dump and runs. I don't have any conversation with anyone. No one's ever tried starting the conversation. LinkedIn has started doing these polls that I've been taking part in. What they're for, I don't know, but I've been doing them. But you've got to try something new. And if they're trying something new, then I'll get myself involved in it. With Instagram, I've got 2 accounts, one for private and one for author. And again, instead of just going to every single platform with a new post, I make sure that the post that is going to be on every single platform is important, like it's one with a discount, or it's one with a free book, or it's one with a new release. Everyone needs to see that. It needs to go viral. Every platform needs to be there. And I don't have the same people on all the platforms. So the people that are on my Facebook and Twitter won't be my TikTok followers or my Instagram followers. So I have different people all over the place in these different platforms.
Okay. That's a good strategy to have some more niche places on the internet for each social media, different people looking at your content and posting different content for each of them. That's great. Okay, is there anybody else?
Yeah, because I think one of the big things to keep in mind is that every platform wants a different medium. Everybody's trying to go towards video. I mean, because that's much more engaging, and it lets you get to know a bit more other than just whatever you posted. You get all you get all the nonverbal communication that you can see that you don't necessarily get when somebody just writes a Facebook post or puts something on Twitter or something along those lines. But obviously, there's still a lot of place there for written medium and written communication as well. But when you look at what medium you're posting to and what platform you're posting to, you want to know what format they want it in, what format the viewers on that channel want it in. And that's kind of the problem sometimes is, especially, talking about TikTok. If Facebook sees TikTok branding, it's not going to go anywhere without a lot of push on a Facebook or an Instagram. So you want to retune and retailer that video between the different platforms. It's a little bit more work, but if you're already doing the work for the content, go ahead and shape it out there. For the stuff we do for Con-tinual, for the different shows we do every week, primarily right now we're focused on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We're going to be doing some shorts and things like that will be coming out on Instagram. And we're talking about doing some of it with TikTok. And I've been doing some of that with some of the clients and some of the other shows. When I bring back Creating Pros in the spring, that show is going to be focused where there's 3 different shows within that one, sound bites, and depending on which show we go, which platform we go to is going to be which the medium goes. So a lot of it too is not only about what platforms you want to be on, what platforms are effective for you, where your readers are, where your buyers are, because your readers and your buyers are not necessarily the same people depending on what you're writing, but it's also about where is it that's going to be effective communication about people learning about you. Yeah, you need to have a certain percentage of come buy my stuff, but there's also much more about who are you, people getting to know you, because that's really what social media wants. And this is what the algorithms are rewarding much more is who are you, what are your interests, what are you doing, what are you playing with, more so than what's the latest thing to buy my book.
Yeah, people need to know who the author is before they put their hand in their pocket and buy a book. You don't have to give away all your personal details, but they want to be able to connect to you before they listen or ask about your book or even speak about your book. Do that connection first, and then the book will come next.
Right.
Who am I letting in my head?
Just to echo that point. I mean, I've probably out of everyone here, I've probably come onto the scene later than the rest of you. So I've been doing quite a lot because I've had a few book launches this year. I've been doing a lot of kind of like, interviews and podcasts and what have you. And most of the time when you actually talk about the book is maybe 3 or 4 minutes out of an hour long kind of thing, because people just want to find out about you. They want to find about, what it is, what you do in your everyday life, like what things you like. They want to see what your personality is like, because as Karina said, and James, it's a lot of time is that because you are an unknown author or you're an indie author compared to other big names that people know the work already, they kind of want to get that kind of connection to you and kind of see if they like you, if they like what you're saying, or the kind of your sense of humor or whatever like that. It gives a lot more. So that's something that social media can definitely help with, especially with the kind of shorter video kind of ones like Instagram Reels, which are very big now compared to just like a normal post, and TikTok. What I kind of looked at and spent a lot of time kind of studying was my newsletter and what people were clicking through to in terms of social media, and seeing if people were clicking through to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, and what have you. And it was interesting to kind of look at that and see what was speaking to people through the newsletter, because obviously then you're looking at how long people were following the newsletter for or subscribed to the newsletter, and what platforms they were going to when you're saying, well, I'm doing this week, I'm doing this YouTube interview this week, and seeing what people are going towards in YouTube, or if I was saying I'm doing this on I had this new video on Facebook Live and people were going to Facebook Live, so that's a good thing to look at as well, especially if you've got like a very kind of healthy and vibrant newsletter, is to see what your kind of people that are already following and supporting you like to see from you.
Well, and I think David just hit on it, which is use social media to get people onto your real estate. I mean,
sure,
if you can get people onto your newsletter, that's the people that actually want to see you, hear it from you, communicate with you more regularly. and
Exactly.
it's way more effective.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely. I focus on my newsletter, but to answer the original question, it's all about what I'm most comfortable with, not targeting because I have such a limited amount of time. And I will say on Facebook, I'm on Facebook a lot because I'm an old man, but most of it's about gardening.
Mhm.
So
Your book's about
Growing your
gardening,
readership.
Ron.
Exactly. Oh
Okay.
my gosh.
grow my
Um,
sales organically.
No.
No.
Take and plan a book and then show how it sprouts the rest of the series. I mean,
There you go.
Oh my gosh.
Well, okay, really quick. So I'm an idiot, and I planted way too much of many things. Like we harvested like 1,000 potatoes. And I don't know if you guys know that, but that's way too many potatoes. So even though I love potatoes, so people enjoyed a lot of the stories of how ridiculous my harvests were.
Well, that's it. They're getting to know you. They're getting to know your humor. And because your books are humorous, they're going to, once they find out that you're an author and you write that kind of book. So,
Yeah, knock on wood.
It's
We'll see.
working. No, that's a really good way to go. Yeah.
I think the point that you all touched on is that it's about providing value, which I think all marketing is, providing value to your readers and making them want to know more about you and connect with you on a more human level, because they can read a wall of text all day and they won't actually feel like they know you and they won't remember you, and you want to make an impression on them. Is that kind of like the consensus that we've got?
what, we're supposed to be human? I thought we
Yeah.
were supposed to be writers.
Well, as close as we can get.
Pretend to be human.
I attempt to be an approximation of human.
Yeah.
Is there any social media platforms that you guys are just like, no, never going to do it? You can't pay me to do it. Well, I don't know if not paying you, but I'm not going to do it of my own volition. I don't feel like I'm comfortable there, and I don't ever see myself doing it.
If there's one for Nazis, I'm not going to go on that one.
Okay. That's
There probably is.
So that means Trump's new one. I'm not doing it.
I was with Pinterest and lost interest in that. It didn't help as for my books or any connection with anyone. So I lost interest in Pinterest. I was on MySpace way back then when I first started. That's a long time ago. MySpace, that was the place to be. Now I think it's all music, so I don't know if you can do your books on there. I've just joined Clubhouse, but I haven't actually been on there yet. I've just joined it, so that'll be interesting. Reddit and Slack and Discord, I'm not on. No intention of going on unless there's someone can tell me something really good about it and I need to be on it.
Right.
Other than that, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, MeWe, loving MeWe. Tumblr, use Tumblr, IG2 accounts, Skyrock. What else we got? I think that's everything. Oh, and TikTok, yeah. So yeah, I'm here and there. But like I say, I don't go on them every day or even once a week. The regular ones are Twitter and Facebook, and the other ones only when I've got something that people need to know about.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry. Go ahead, Jim.
No,
Sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was very reticent about TikTok at the start because I was kind of like, I'm 38 now, so I'm not old or anything, but I was kind of like, I think TikTok is just it's too young for me, because that was what I was thinking. My one of my mates is on it because he's a musician, and so he was using it, and he'd be kind of sending me like videos and stuff of just people dancing all the time, and I was like, I don't want to see people dancing. I don't even want to see people dancing when they're at home or on the TV. Like I just don't want to see it. And then I kind of started like hearing about book talk, and like my publisher for one of my books was saying, we're getting we're doing well on TikTok, and you should do it and all this. And I was like, oh, well, I'll give it a go and try it, and it's fun. I do enjoy it, and it's it's kind of it's nice and creative. I think it can, if you use it in the right way, you kind of look at what's trending and you kind of try and twist some of these things that are trending into something to do with books or your own personality.
It's evolved so much since it first started. It was for young kids. It was a dancing place where you made up these dances and everybody was doing the same thing. And it's just exploded now, and everything and anything is on TikTok. And now you've got even the longer videos now. Before, you used to, when I used to read, I was like, okay, so I'll go to this number, blah, 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 trying to get it all on in time for that, how much, 15, 30 seconds or whatever you get. But now you've got longer to do your reading, your cosplay and everything, which is really cool. But I love that TikTok's evolved and it's for everyone now, not just for kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
because I was, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm not, but I've it's got a good community on there. But other than that, like I'd kind of try it. Apart from the Nazi one that Ron mentioned before, I would pretty much try. I think I am actually on everything except for LinkedIn, but that's because like I'd have to just create a new profile on that because I had a different career at some point, and most of the people on my LinkedIn would be like, just trying to offer me jobs in retail management and stuff. And I'd be like, I don't want to do that anymore. stop offering me jobs in retail management. I would have to kind of rethink about that. But I mean, if you can give value to it and you can get value out of it, then I don't think anything is off the table, really.
Well, and one of the things that's kind of important, and TikTok, because again, when I look at it from a data standpoint, and when I look at it from some of the business standpoint, I'll put that aside. One of the things that's really been interesting to watch, though, is TikTok and how well they have grown their algorithms and how well the AI responds to what people's interests are and how quickly it responds to that. So if you go onto TikTok, and again, this is one of those places to be very intentional. It is very interesting to watch how adaptive their AI is and how fast it responds. And the good news about that for authors is that if you know where your readership is and what their interests are, you can actually tune what you're doing to get in front of more people very quickly. And there's a lot of people that are creating really pretty significant careers based off of TikTok and getting some good, and getting not only book sales or music sales and other stuff like that, but I mean, are really building some pretty strong stuff. The other side of that too is some of the other platforms that have not learned from the mistakes they've made that TikTok has taken in terms of that adaptive AI and how quickly they're monitoring and watching what people do and what their interests are to make that response. I think what's going to be curious to see is when TikTok really starts to do more to monetize, and when they start making more of the same kinds of moves like Facebook and Twitter and other platforms where it's becoming more pay to play. Right now, they're making their money other ways and how that data gets used and sold. But I will be curious to see if and when they make some changes around how they handle the monetization side of it. But I think this is one of the other important things to be aware of is if you're pouring a bunch of time and energy into social media, is pretty much every platform that has any degree of maturity is very much a pay to play. If you're not doing certain things to market and promote, then you can be doing a whole lot of social media posting that goes absolutely nowhere.
Yeah. Be a time waster. Now you've got to tell us how TikToks is not gonna be fun anymore, Jim. That's basically what you're telling us. It's destined.
Oh wait, I'm supposed to tell you how much fun it is?
Yeah. I get on there for fun now.
Again, this is the other part of my life, which is watching how data moves, what people do with data and all the rest of that. But that feeds into knowledge and awareness, because if you don't know how these platforms consolidate and build data, then your marketing and advertising will not be anywhere near as effective. If you understand who's on the platform, how they gather data, what data they gather, and how they organize it, and with all the changes that have gone through for the last 6 months or so, that world has changed. Has been, that apple cart's been upset significantly by Google and Apple. So,
Anybody else want to say anything about that, or do you want to? We good? Okay. Let's see. Are there any new social media platforms that have come out that you want to try but you haven't started yet?
Sure. I'd like to try TikTok, but it's just time.
Oh, they would love you, Ron. They would love you. Seriously.
Well, that's probably true. That happens all the time. But
you're going to have to dress better. I mean, you're just going to have to look better than that.
Well, I have tuxedos.
You have that tux collection. Come on.
Yeah, I do. I need to use it. I don't want to waste it. Although I am trying to wear every one of my sport coats on a different show. So like each show I try to wear a different one. Because when I was a consultant, I amassed quite a collection of sports coats and suits. So
that could be your gimmick, you see. Every time you're on TikTok, you're totally dressed up and they know you for that.
Well, that would be true because I respect people, so I dress up. And that's not a diss on any of you. I mean, it is.
I feel that. Yeah, I know. I feel the personal hit. I'm not even kilted out today. I mean, it's.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed for all of you.
Hey, I'm in Ireland. It's really cold. It's woolly jumper season.
Sure, but you could be wearing a bow tie and a
bow
top hat
tie
too.
A bow tie with it underneath the beard in this bit.
Just think, David. Just think.
I'd like to try Clubhouse. I've heard about it mainly because
Clubhouse is fun.
Yeah, mainly because like Clubhouse is such an American term. We never had Clubhouses over here really, so I feel left out. So I wanna join the virtual Clubhouse.
I've never even heard of it.
It's an audio thing. It's new.
Yeah, basically you listen into conversations of professionals talking about a certain topic, and you can put your hand up if you want to ask a question or if you want to jump in. They sometimes let you, but most of the time they are really professional in their field. So you can learn so much from just listening to these conversations, and it's huge. How many rooms they have and how many things I just went on there for podcasting and I couldn't believe how many rooms there were for these podcasting and what they were talking about. And I joined one. I never said anything. I never asked questions. I just joined it just to see what they were talking about. And it's really impressed me. So, I would advise everyone to join up with Clubhouse. But it is, I don't know if you can join. I think you have to be invited. It's very exclusive.
Well, and here's the interesting things about Clubhouse, and I've done a couple of them. I've been on a couple of different ones now. Is if you are on stage being you're one of the speakers, you can both be on stage as a main presenter as well as bring somebody on stage to ask a question and then move them back off. And I've done a few of those on Clubhouse as well. We've for a couple of different purposes. They're fun, but one of the interesting things is once it's over, it's over. There's no go back and repeat it, go back and re-listen to it, re-watch it. We're actually looking at, with one of the new podcasts we're doing, is to actually do the podcast as a Clubhouse or broadcast it live simultaneously on the Clubhouse as we're recording the live show. And we're talking about doing some of the same thing with some of the continual shows as well. So that way you get the whole thing and not the edited versions necessarily. But with the audio, it's there and then it's gone. But there have already been the first couple of like small scandals out of things that were quote unquote said on Clubhouse that then it becomes really hard to go back and say, well, that's not exactly what this person did, or that's not exactly what this person said. But as a social media platform, it's really interesting because you've got to be there for the conversation when the conversation happens, or it's over and gone. Which is both good and bad, because if you're wanting to use that, but there's a lot of people I know in a professional space that are building really good practices as a part of on Clubhouse and building speaking practices off of that. And that's one of those things that we're going to be ramping up and doing more of probably next year, because I just don't have the bandwidth this year.
I tried it out for a little while back when it was still on iOS only. And it was really interesting. There, you can learn a lot of stuff, and you don't even have to put like good clothes on or put your makeup on. You can just,
Your
get on your
pajamas.
phone. You don't have to have special equipment. You can just get on there and talk or listen. And there's rooms for everything on there. And I think they are starting to get a little bit more organized with it. Because when I first got on there, it was hard to kind of find the rooms that I wanted to be in. But it's something I would like to explore more and do more with, but I just haven't had the time yet.
Yeah. I know.
If you don't have to dress up, then it's not for me.
I don't know if Ron would like it or not. You could still wear it; they just couldn't see it. So
yeah,
don't
you can
tell
them
him.
about
It'll be
it.
Fine. As long as he thinks they can see him, it'll be
as long as I feel pretty.
It's all about your self-confidence. Who cares about everybody else? Let's see. With the way that social media is changing, and it certainly doesn't just change because we have Facebook's metaverse and who knows what other changes are coming to kind of evolve the internet. Will you be evolving with it, or are you going to find alternative ways to reach your readers? Going old school with more newsletter or more direct ways, or will you be evolving?
Yeah, virtual reality and it just scares the shit out of me. It really does. And I know that what Facebook is about to, is starting to do, and I will be distancing myself from that for the time being. There's so much. Everything's going too fast, and that scares me, especially the way virtual reality is happening now. And that was one of the conversations I listened into the first time on Clubhouse. It was about what was going to happen with Facebook, and then they started talking about these sunglasses that the Ray-Bans or something that you put on, and they're like 3D, or they come up and they give you information on the lenses, and I was like freaking me out. I was like, no, we can't go there yet. We're not ready for that yet. So yeah, no, I will be distancing myself and going old school as long as I can.
All right.
Yeah, I planned. I'm sorry.
Sorry, go on, Ron. Sorry, you go. Right, you're better dressed than me, so you go first.
I was just gonna say I plan to do it as an old person, so slightly slow, behind the curve, late, but eventually evolve.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the evil one that I've been working in augmented reality stuff off and on for 15 years. So we actually, with some of the new playgrounds that are being created for the digital realm and digital environment, you're going to have to kind of keep up because of the opportunities it's creating. Mm-hmm. There's a virtual conference that I participated in. I don't know. It's been probably about 2 months ago that I just went in to mostly go check it out. And I wound up being pulled in to speak for a little bit, but they're building out very strong virtual convention centers. It's something we're actually playing with for Con-tinual. We started playing with it and we're talking with the team at Second Life about trying to build something. But there's a number of platforms now that kind of have jumped beyond that. But I mean, with the other part of my life, the idea and the ability to use VR goggles and sit in virtual meetings and me not have to be in the office, not have to be in front of somebody. Mm-hmm. Having been somebody that traveled 48 weeks a year for 20 years, there's a great value in being able to sit and meet people face to face and hang out with them and get to know them and do dinner and all this sort of thing. But at the same time, there's also a great value in all the different things that can come out of the VR AR environment. Now, the fact that everything right now is still largely avatar based and more graphical, as that changes over a much faster period of time than I think anybody's going to be comfortable with, where you're no longer looking at an animated avatar, you're now looking at 3D representation. If not, you're just looking at a holographic view of that person because that's where the cameras are at now. That's going to bring a lot of capabilities, and it's also going to bring a lot of change, because if you look at how long it took to get people comfortable with video, and then once people were, the societal shift that went with video, we're looking at the exact same thing with augmented reality right now, where that's going to make a leap as well.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing video games, right? So I'm at that kind of age where late 80s, I had an Atari and went through that whole
Yeah,
thing
me
to
too.
yeah, went through to like Nintendo and like Sega and Xbox and PlayStation. Yeah, I've kind of got the whole thing. So the whole augmented reality and virtual reality side excites me to an extent. I think obviously it creates a barrier to entry where some people just simply aren't going to be able to afford it. Which is always like, but that is what's the problem with technology anyway. It does leave people behind, and then you have people with comfort levels and everything like that. But the thing that excites me about it was that probably other than my newsletter, the most valuable tool of marketing, and it probably is a form of social marketing that I've done since I've started writing, is conventions and going on panels and that kind of in person one. I've done an online one, and then I've done two recently in the UK, flying over and doing a whole weekend and doing like workshops and panels and running some and moderating some, and that was great to kind of meet people and meet readers and kind of do it. So to do that in a virtual setting where you don't have to do that travel, anyone can go. You can go to ones that are in the States, you can go to ones that are in Japan, you can go to ones that are in wherever you want to go. You know what I mean? I think that is something that would be very, very valuable, because the world is getting kind of smaller and easier to traverse in technological ways. But then again, as I say, the kind of barrier to entry for that is something that kind of gives you a little bit of pause about it. However, as things advance, like you look at when virtual reality first started coming out 5 years ago, 6 years ago, the headsets were in the thousands to buy, and now you can get ones for your play. They're not great ones, but you can get ones for your PlayStation for like $300, $400. So that does change over time as well.
Here's the problem with virtual conventions is, I don't do them because I can't, but my clients do. And that's where they sell their books, because they are one-on-one with the reader. They get to chat with the author before they go and then have a look at the books and buy them. When you're virtual, you haven't got that close contact, that human contact anymore. Maybe you can chat about the book and you give them a link to go and buy it, but it's so much different when it's face to face and you can talk and you can relate to whatever they're talking about and really get to know the author. And then that's how my clients are selling their books more than they are online. They are selling more books at these conventions. If they turn virtual, I can't see how that's going to happen.
Well, actually, it is a very different game, because I do a lot of conventions. I do a lot of selling from the booth. I do a lot of workshops and things like this. It is a very different environment. And kind of the downside is you can't sign a book for somebody and put it in their hands. But the upside of doing a virtual convention, and this is where you're starting, and this is one of the things that we actually have experimented with, and I've done some stuff with clients as well, is how virtual dealers rooms are working. And again, this is a little bit of my other life, but with how virtual dealers rooms work, you can have somebody go to the link and you have them go to Amazon and do that. But actually the nice part of it is, and again, we create a Con-tinual as an ongoing thing. We put out programming every week. We do live events. We just did one for Halloween. Is it creates the ability to create an ongoing relationship with readers and fans. It's still better to be in front of somebody to be able to sell a book, but doing things like this and coming into online conventions, do online panels, allows people to stay in touch and communicate. This is where things like Discord are actually pretty useful, or creating rooms on Facebook where you can create a room and have a meet out and a hangout with fans and readers, or teach classes and workshops. With Discord, you can create tables for somebody to come hang out, have chats. Is it the same thing as being in there in person? Absolutely not. But it also creates an opportunity for people that are very diverse and across the planet to do things together. So it's a different experience, but it creates different opportunities. So you can't have the exact same expectation of being sitting live at a convention where you're going to be in front of readers, in front of fans, and people can come, you know, say hi afterwards or meet you in the bar when you do a bar con and come socialize and things like that. But at the same time, I'm not going to do a whole lot of shows in Japan or the UK or Australia or some of the other things that I've been able to do, much like sitting right here. So it's, don't have the same expectation, but understand that it reaches people in a different way. I mean, I can only tell so many bad jokes in my life.
I think it's interesting also that you could also, and I've seen a lot of conventions lately doing one-on-one with certain people. So that's like a VIP thing. You get the VIP room with even like on Cameo, where you can book a celebrity or book an author or some sort of talent, and you get that one-on-one meet and greet. And it's kind of like you're in person with them. You still get to have that interaction that you would have at a table, but and you know, especially with video, you'll be able to see social cues and stuff like that. But it's not quite the same. But if in this age and time when we're having to worry about all this pandemic and things, it's actually a kind of a cool hurdle that we've jumped. And of course, it doesn't make up for being there in person and being able to shake their hand or, you know, or hug them or whatever. But for right now, I think it's a great solution. And especially for people that may not be able to travel or people on the other side of the, you know, planet, like Jim said, it's a way for people to connect that we haven't really done in the past, but we can do it one-on-one, and it's good. So
yeah, my authors, like I said, most of them sold their books with conventions. They didn't even know about Zoom. They didn't know about panels. They didn't know about these meetings where your audience is worldwide, and they are out there waiting to meet you. And nothing can stop that now with the virtual meetings like this. So no one knew about it. And the thing is, when things do get back as close to normality as they can, the conventions are going to carry on. But this door is always going to be open. And they need to remember that yes, go to your convention, sell your books, but don't forget that you have a chance to reach the world through this medium, and the door will always be open. So
right.
And there's one other thing I will add to that I can't tell you how many people have reached out to us around Con-tinual that have been very thankful for being able to attend, in essence, a virtual convention, because these are people that, many of them, even prior to the pandemic, weren't able to get out for health reasons or other reasons like that, or people that just weren't comfortable or socially able to get out. So, I mean, again, it's a different medium, lets us connect with people and hang out and build relationships and friendships and things like that in a very virtual sense. So I don't think that this medium is going to go away anytime soon. In fact, if you look at all the marketing information, this medium is going to continue to grow, which means that also the technologies about to support it are going to grow and get cheaper. I mean, look how much cheaper good audio equipment has gotten. Look how much cheaper good video equipment has gotten. I mean, 10 years ago, let's actually go back 12 years ago. This current age could not have happened the same way. If the pandemic had happened 12 years ago, we would be stuck in a very different world. You know, I'm sitting in a convention center on an iPhone, able to do audio, video, everything else to the world. 15 years ago, I could do it if I was using WebEx, but we weren't going to be broadcasting anywhere. So again, we're able to reach people that are no longer able to come out and interact. So we're also serving a lot of different people to connect with them that aren't able to otherwise do that anymore.
I truly believe that this medium has saved a lot of lives during the pandemic, because they're able to connect with people, whether it's their loved ones or family or friends, or meeting new people just to talk to and to chat with. And I think without it, I can only imagine.
Okay, are you guys ready for a little inception? Because not only am I hosting this week, but we also have the Indie Connection that I recorded. So I'm going to watch myself do the Indie Connection. You guys are going to watch with me.
I was hoping you were going to have Joe do the Indie Connection.
That would have been so cool. We should have done
symmetry.
that. Opportunity missed.
You guys should call me more often for ideas.
We're going to do at some point. I'm going to make Joe do an indie connection. That's hilarious. But this week we have, if you like horses, if you like magic, and you like a little bit of competition, sort of like the Hunger Games, then we're going to be doing the Scorpio races and indie books that are like it. So without further ado, here I am. That's the wrong one. Hold on. This one's it. Hey guys, C.L. Cannon here from Fiction Atlas Press, bringing you another Indie Connection. Today I'm going to be telling you about some indie books that you might enjoy if you're a fan of Maggie Stivater's The Scorpio Races. The first book I have for you is called A Light in the Sky by Shina Reynolds. 17-year-old Alma Banks has always dreamed of soaring freely through the skies astride a powerful winged steed of her own, but flying is a privilege granted only to the riders of the King's Empyrean Cavalry, the aerial warriors who defend the borders of their land from the fallen kingdom of Lathlan. Each year, rider hopefuls across Erlania compete in the autumn tournament for the honor of joining the cavalry. Alma, trained to ride and fight by her retired Empyrean rider father, knows she has what it takes to prove herself worthy. If only her father hadn't forbidden her from joining the ranks, in the hope of protecting his only daughter from the perils of war. To make matters even worse, Thayer, Alma's best friend, who could become something more, is competing, and if he wins, he'll leave her behind. When Alma's father is tragically injured just before the tournament, she finds herself unexpectedly thrust into this year's competition. But as Alma begins to pursue her dreams, she learns devastating secrets about the king and his never-ending war with Lothlien. In her quest for the truth, Alma discovers a power deep within herself that may be the only way to save Orlania and the people she loves from the darkness that threatens to consume them all. The second book I have for you is called A Trial of Sorcerers by Elise Kova. Ice is in her blood. 18-year-old water-run Ira Landon lives her life in the shadows. The shadow of her older brother, of her magic's whispers, and of the person she accidentally killed. She's the most unwanted apprentice in the Tower of Sorcerers, until the day she decides to step out and compete for a spot in the Tournament of 5 Kingdoms. Pitted against the best sorcerers in the Empire, Ira fights to be one of the 4 champions. Excelling in the trials has its rewards. She's invited to the royal court with the Prince of the Tower, discovers her rare talent for forbidden magic, and at midnight, Iris secretly meets with a handsome elfin ambassador. But Iris soon learns no reward is without risk. As she comes into the spotlight, so too do the skeletons of a past she hadn't even realized was haunting her. Ira went into the trials ready for a fight, ready to win. She wasn't ready for what it would cost her. No one expected the candidates might not make it out with their lives. The third book I have for you is called Shadow Spell Academy, The Culling Trials by K.F. Brienne and Shannon Mayer. You don't choose the academy chooses you. I had no idea how those words would change my life, or how they'd changed my life already, until the day the most dangerous man I've ever met waltzed onto my farm and left us a death sentence, in an invitation. My younger brother had been chosen for the prestigious, secret magical school hidden within the folds of our mundane world, a place so dangerous they don't guarantee you'll make it out alive. If he doesn't go, our entire family will be killed. It's the same invitation my older brother received 3 years ago, the same place he mysteriously died. The academy has already killed one sibling. I'll be damned if they take another. I do the only thing an older sister can, chop off my hair, strap on 2 bras to flatten the girls, and take my brother's place. Magic and monsters are real. Assassins are coming for me, and the dead are prone to rise. What's a girl faking it as a boy supposed to do? That's right, beat the academy at its own game, or die trying. And the last book I have for you is called The Cure by K.A. Riley. Before the Blight, becoming an adult was something teenagers looked forward to, but now turning 18 means certain death, unless you prove yourself worthy of the cure. On her 17th birthday, Ashen Spencer is blindfolded and escorted to the massive, mysterious building known as the Ark
to begin her year of training and testing in hopes that she can earn the cure, a powerful drug given only to those deemed worthy to survive beyond their 18th birthday. Ashton has a chance to rise up from her former life of squalor and be granted a place in society, if the panel, the mysterious group of powerful men and women in charge of the Ark, deems her year a success. She is assigned to work for 12 months as a servant for a wealthy family whose son is the most alluring young man she's ever met. At first, Ashton is grateful for the opportunity to earn her place in a society she's always dreamed of inhabiting. But as time passes and she begins to learn the truth about the people she admires so much and the home she left behind, she realizes she has a choice. Be part of the disease or be part of the cure.
Okay, that's all for me this week. I'll see you next week on The New Connection. Bye. Okay. Actually, I'm on here a little bit sooner than next week, but I do have one more question for you guys because we're about an hour now. So recently, quite a few social media platforms, most of them owned by Facebook, but quite a few social media platforms went down. And
Oh, yeah.
so everybody had no Facebook, they had no Messenger and no Instagram and WhatsApp. And that kind of threw people for a while because they were so used to being on there all the time. It just becomes so ingrained into our life, like a daily thing that we do. So do you guys have a backup plan in case, things permanently go away, or like say you have a launch and of all days, which is of course the day that you do a launch, that's when everything goes wrong, and most of your social media is down. What is your backup plan to reach your fans and to make sure that your readers get valuable content from you and know about your books and your sales and all that good stuff?
When it went down the first time, it was so funny because I went over to MeWe, and of course MeWe is Facebook without the bullshit. So everyone was laughing about it. Facebook is down, and everybody was piling onto MeWe, and it was just so much fun. And so I can promote on there. And if it was for a book release and Facebook and Messenger were down, then I have my newsletter and many other platforms that have nothing to do with Facebook. So I'd be okay.
Yeah, the harrowing thing about that was that in Ireland, the biggest network provider is a company called Vodafone, which are also in the UK, but they use Facebook systems for all their infrastructure. So not only did it go down, but all our internet went down completely if you used Vodafone. So I have Vodafone home internet and I have Vodafone phone network, so I couldn't do anything.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was like we'd gone back into the early 90s. It was literally like I couldn't even ring people up on my mobile phone. I had nothing. And I was actually in the process. I was kind of doing a group lead on an anthology that was coming out. It's actually just come out. It's like a shared world anthology, but I was just finalizing the formatting and the last little bits with the publisher before it went to being uploaded to Ingram Spark and Amazon, and that was that day. So it was like they were just they were trying to get a hold of me by email and everything else, and I just was it was like I disappeared off the face of the planet. So my plan is to not use Vodafone anymore, just in case.
That's a good plan.
Well, yeah, the day all that went down, because again, it's also worthwhile to remember Facebook couldn't even get into their own building. So, the first thing is always have a backup plan. And I've got a client that their app, SSO, was running exclusively off of Facebook, which I told them not to do, but they did anyway. So we made some changes over the last couple of weeks. So at least they're now running off of 3 SSOs, single sign-on type stuff. But at the end of the day, if you're dependent on any one platform for that moment in time, you're going to be screwed because anybody can change their rules anytime. Get them onto your mailing list, get them on other ways into your own ecosystem, because you don't own social media. That's not your page. It's not your content.
We're squatters.
Allowed. Yeah, you're borrowing space. You're borrowing time. And much like Tumblr readers have found out in the past, people can change their rules anytime. If we look at YouTube, we look at Facebook, if we look at the way people can be deplatformed, if we look at the way that some platforms don't allow certain types of content at all, people can, it's not your playground. They can change the rules at any time. So don't be dependent on anybody. The only reason you should be dependent on social media is to meet people, interact with people, and then work with them to get them off onto your own platform, and preferably your email lists.
Yep.
I know I'm a buzzkill. It's just
No, you just said it all. I mean,
Yeah, you said it.
email list. That's
Right,
what I'm working on.
Yeah, newsletter is, a lot of people don't want to do it. They think it's too much work or that it's not enough return, but you can't beat having your own list and be able to get into them at any time, no matter what happens on social media.
You've got to invest the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you are investing weeks and months and thousands of dollars into writing books and wanting to build that as a career, you're a writer. You should be communicating by email. And again, this is a physician heal thyself moment, because we don't get ours out as any one of the three I have out as often as I should, because we're doing client stuff, we're building all the other stuff. So it's a physician heal thyself moment, but it's a sin I'm aware of. But I not only in writing, but in a lot of different businesses, I've got a client we do work with that got deplatformed for a variety of reasons last year. But the reason they still had a business that they really saw next to no blip out of social media was because when the social media went down, they still had their mailing list. They still had plenty of other ways to communicate and connect with customers.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, great. That avenue went down. No big deal. They shifted platforms and actually are doing better now than they were by being dependent on Facebook.
Awesome. Okay, so I guess that's about it for us. I'm going to let you guys do your thing, tell everybody where that they can find you, and then Joe has requested that I do the last 5 minutes to tell you guys about Fiction Atlas. So if you guys want to go in the opposite order that we started with, so Jim, do you want to tell everybody where they can find you?
Sure, I hide. I'm just in the bush behind your house. I'm up in the no. You can find me at jamespnettles.com, authoressentials.net, authoressentialsworkshops.com. We're in the middle of moving both of those platforms. You can find me at continualconvention.com, where if you like seeing these kinds of panels, and we have Joe, and we do some stuff back and forth between us and Continual. I show up some on Facebook, which is probably where I'm most active. Some on Twitter, the hive of scum and villainy that it is, a little bit on Instagram, getting ready to start doing stuff through TikTok again. My podcasting show, Creating Prose, is about to come back. And other than that, doing a lot of virtual and in-person events right now. So yeah, just kind of all over the place.
Awesome. Karina?
You can find all my books. I've got quite a few here and some more here as well. The little one's so cute. You can find them on Amazon and everywhere else. Nook, Kobo. I am wide. I don't stick with just Amazon. I'd rather not even be on Amazon, but that's another subject altogether. I am on, as you know, nearly every single social media platform. I don't hide behind a pen name. I'm Karina Kantas. You can find my Behind the Pen podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Google Play, and all those good platforms. Also, the show is on my YouTube channel, Karina Kantas. Got over 315 videos, loads to see on there, book trailers and narrations and the show Behind the Pen. So, just Google my name. I'll come up 74,000 pages and you'll find me somewhere.
Awesome. Okay, Ron?
Hi. You can mostly find me in the kitchen or in the garden, especially washing dishes, like scratch to make for many, many dishes. But I have my website here.
There.
Cathaldi.com. And there you can find my various social media stuff and the signups for my email newsletters. I have 2 one for my fantasy readers and one for humor that's new. I think my personal phone number's on there. Whatever you want. My video of me in my house. My security cams.
Okay.
So I'll see you soon, or you'll see me soon.
All right.
And you can find a link to his OnlyFans page too. So
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, where the sports coats come off.
Well, when I don't have an OnlyFans. Probably, fortunately, I do not have an OnlyFans. When I'm just looking into obscure train facts for my son. But when I'm not, I'm writing books, which you can find both on Amazon and everywhere else. And my website is the best place to find anything to do with me. It's davidgreenwriter.com. And you can get all of my social media stuff from there. My events for anything that's coming up will be on there as well. And you can sign up for my newsletter, which we've all mentioned a few times. And if you do, you get a free short story collection of mine called Tales of Fire and Ash.
Awesome.
Great. Okay, guys, thank you so much for bearing with me on my first ever hosting of the show.
Well done.
Thank you.
hey.
If you guys don't know where you're at, you're on GoIndieNow, and it's time to smash the like button. That's what Joe always says around this time.
Smash it.
So smash the like button. And he wants me to do the last 5 minutes to talk about Fiction Atlas. So I guess that's what I'll do now. Thank you guys so much for making this an easy show for me. And thanks for talking with me.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay. And there we go. So I am the owner of Fiction Atlas Press, and it's an author services company and a small publisher. Founded it back in 2016. And so let me see. I've also prepared a statement for this because I'm just horrible at doing an ad lib. But let's see. I do graphic design, editing, proofreading, website design for WordPress, video trailers, and animated images, and book trailers, book covers. One-on-one marketing packages with fantasy and sci-fi authors in any of their subgenres, and probably a whole bunch of other things that I can't remember because I do so many things. I usually pick up a new skill every year. That's kind of like my New Year's resolution. I usually just pick one thing. I'm going to learn this year, and then I'm going to start offering it as a service. So if it has to do with the publishing process, I probably either know how to do it or I can get you in contact with someone who does. But I also run a multi-author social media and newsletter builder company called Fiction Atlas Author Builders. And we have over 3,000 members in our group. Right now it's just in a Facebook group. We also have a newsletter. And we're going to be moving a lot of that onto our website because of Facebook crashing and not being able to get onto everything. So we're kind of transitioning to that, but we got 3,000 members. I take care of all the fantasy and sci-fi builders, and we do every platform out there, every social media that's out there. We do newsletters, BookBub, TikTok, Instagram, anything that you can think of as a social media. We take care of trying to get you more targeted followers for that. But I do fantasy and sci-fi, and my sister I have made do romance because she was looking for a job, and I was like, I don't do romance, here you go. So she takes care of all of our romance builders, and we try to make them affordable for authors because I'm an author and I know how much it costs to try to get everything together for marketing and for self-publishing a book, and covers and all that stuff takes so much of your money. So I don't want to take a bunch of your money to try to help you gain followers. So most of our builders start at $10, $10 to $25, and I think our most expensive one is $48, but you get to build on 10 platforms with that one. So we try to be budget friendly. And we genre target our builders, and the prizes that we use for those are always books and merchandise that is in the genre that we're trying to target. So that way we're not giving you people who want like a new iPad or something and they're just entering to win something. These people are readers and they want to know more about you and your books. And I think that's what really sets us apart from maybe other places that are doing this for probably twice the cost. So we do BookBub followers. We get a lot of traffic to our book fairs, and we just try to help the community any way that we can by making things affordable and just trying to be helpful with marketing tips and any support that we can give. The group is really like a community now. It started out kind of business, and now we're kind of just like like a big family. And I would invite anybody who wants to join the group to join it because it's pretty laid back. You can just go to Facebook and search Fiction Atlas Author Builders. But apart from marketing and my services, we also do 2 anthologies a year at Fiction Atlas, and one of them always is for charity and one is actually a paid one for the authors. And our next anthology that we have coming up is called Wicked Wishes, and we already have an awesome cover for that by Trish Benito. And it is a be careful what you wish for sort of anthology, and submissions are open for that one. They'll be open until January 20th, and all the proceeds from this one, because this is our charity anthology, all the proceeds from this one are going to go to the World Literacy Foundation, which is a great organization. We were actually in contact with them. They're going to let us put their branding on the paperback covers and in any of our online marketing. So it's actually more of a partnership with them, which I think is great and I'm really excited about. But if anyone would like to submit a story, it just has to be between 5,000 and 20,000 words, and be edited and ready for publishing, and be on the subject of be careful what you wish for. It's going to be fantasy and sci-fi. So as long as it's in that gamut, we will be taking submissions, and it's going to benefit a really good charity. And I think that's just about all to say about Fiction Atlas. We are a company that is kind of ingrained into the community now. We do a lot of stuff for the community, and the community does a lot of stuff for us. And it's just a wonderful thing to be able to love what you do. And I really do love doing things with Fiction Atlas and being a part of the author community. But that's about it for me, and that's about it for our show. But I want you guys to always remember that it's always time to go indie now. Bye.